Ben Leber. Ben, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Hey guys, how you doing? I apologize about the car video. I just mistimed running all my errands, and so this is what you get.
Hey, we'll take it, man. Thank you.
2025, man.
You look good to us.
I will say this, Ben, this is a true testament to true friendship because it's easy to get on the show during the season when everybody's doing sports. But when you agree to do it in the off season, now I know it's real, Ben, man. Good talking to you, brother, like always.
Yeah, good talking to you. But as you know, there is no real offseason when it comes to NFL talk. I mean,
Yeah.
NFL dominates year-round. So even though we're not talking about any specific game for the upcoming weekend, we always got things to talk about. And I'm sure you guys are going to talk about a certain quarterback that we may or may not have starting the league year.
It feels like the biggest story in the
Daniel
division
Jones?
right now, Ben. It does. It's the biggest story in the division. What Minnesota is going to do with their quarterback position. Are they going to franchise Sam Darnold or not? Are they going to try to extend him? Or, you know what? Thanks for 14 wins. Thanks for making the playoffs. J.J. McCarthy is our guy.
You know, I get the sense that it's a handshake, it's a thank you, and it's, as they say, it's their words. They say he's earned the right to become a free agent. So I think it's heading down that road. I think ever since Kwesi and KOC took over, I think that they've wanted to get out of these major quarterback contracts that unless you're a complete top one or two type of player, let's build the team around a younger, cheaper quarterback, and let's go that direction. So I think the game plan all along, win, lose, or draw, whether we beat you guys at the end of the season and we go on to win a Super Bowl, I think the end game all along was in 2025 and beyond, it's J.J. McCarthy's team. So I think the first deal to drop sounds like they are not going to franchise him, and now they're saying all the right things and they're working to re-sign him. But to me personally, if you're not going to sign him to a 1-year $40 million or $41 million guaranteed franchise tag, then why would you work out any sort of extension where you're going to look at 2 or 3 years with over $40 million guaranteed anyway? So I feel like if you're not going to franchise tag him, then you're not going to pay him. You're just going to let him go.
Is this a situation, too, where the organization is doing Sam Darnold a little bit of they're not just cutting ties with him right now. They're trying to make it look to the rest of the NFL that they're really struggling with this decision because of how good he was for them. They don't want it to be like, oh, yeah, you suck. We're going with our guy now, JJ. They're kind of doing him a little bit of a solid by dragging this out a little bit. Are they not?
That's the sense that I get too. I mean, it's gamesmanship, and I feel like, look, he was so good for us, and I think there's a mutual respect there. So any little thing that the Vikings can do to help him squeeze some more money out of some other team, whether it's the Giants or the Raiders or whoever it is, maybe the Browns, any one of those teams, if we can help him get an extra $5 million a year, why wouldn't we do that? And I think that he'd be thankful for that. So I'm kind of with you. I think a lot of the verbiage is, the NFL doesn't like to they don't do a very good job of being very declarative and just cutting things off. And so they like to have, things linger on, keep things in our stable as much as possible, use any sort of little thread of leverage that we can in the hopes that it benefits us. And I think that's kind of what's at play right now.
Ask you about the other quarterback that's there, not J.J. McCarthy, but Daniel Jones. I'm one of the few that actually liked Daniel Jones and thought that he can do well for a team. Hell, he beat you guys in a playoff game a couple of years ago, and you got him on the cheap. The Giants paid him. Does he stay and become the backup to J.J.?
I think so. I think that's sort of the idea, and I think when he got signed in the mid-season, it was a mutual thing as well. It's like, I think the Vikings understood this is exactly the type of player that we want to back up J.J. McCarthy. It sounds like Daniel Jones knew exactly what he was stepping into and was specifically looking not just to jump to another team just for the money, but he wanted to really learn something from KOC, and he wanted to see what all of this was about. Like, hey, what are they doing here with quarterbacks? How can this guy in the system make me a better player for the future? And I think that he's willing to take an 18-month sabbatical just to learn and sort of go back to quarterback school, and then next offseason sort of enter the free agent market, maybe hopefully a retooled player, and hopefully he has another couple of years like Sam Darnold did.
Ben, it seems like the division is starting to cook, man. You got Ben Johnson goes to Chicago. We assume that they're going to be better. We assume Green Bay is going to be better. The Minnesota defensively, we think they'll get better on that side. We want the defensive line here in Detroit. That's where all analysts, that's what I want. That's what we want to do. Got to get somebody on the opposite side of Aiden Hudson, or are we bringing somebody in for DJ Reader or Lee McNeil? What are you guys looking for? The draft just passed Minnesota. What's going to make Minnesota Vikings a better version of themselves this year in this division?
I think we're gonna be fighting for a long time. We're gonna be fighting this offseason too. I mean,
I agree.
You guys and us, we all need the same thing. I mean, to a point. Now, you guys, your offensive line is pretty stacked, so you're good. Yeah. But we're looking for the interior of both of our trenches. So, hands off all those defensive tackles and defensive linemen. Okay,
we'll fight you.
We have some outside pass rushers. I get that, but we are really lacking from an interior pass rush. Harrison Phillips does a great job on first and second down. He is a tremendous run stopper, quite the juggernaut up front. But, he just doesn't have as much juice getting vertical and getting to the quarterback and being disruptive in the pass game. So we're looking for that as well. I personally, sitting at 24, I think that we're in a really good spot to get the best available defensive tackle, interior offensive lineman, and then probably cornerback. Now, if I had my my druthers, I would say D tackle, offensive line, corner, but we're in a really good spot, I think, sitting at 24 to grab the best available at those three spots.
Yeah, give me edge, linebacker, and edge again, or some form of a D tackle. Here's a fun question that has nothing to do with what's going on currently. I remember when I was just about to get ready to go to Michigan, man, there was this quarterback. I was like, man, this quarterback's good. He's so cold. Number 7 for the Kansas State Wildcats, Michael Bishop. What was it like? You got to give me a good Michael Bishop story, because he was one of those guys that you heard his name, you thought, okay, this guy is going to be the next one, or this guy is the next one. Give me a Michael Bishop story.
Well, I can tell you, we were in the same recruiting class back in '97. Now, I was coming out of high school, and he was coming out of Blinn Community College, and I didn't know much about him. The only my first impression of him, once I read up on him and I saw all the accolades, when I saw him, no kidding. I mean, at this point in time, I've never seen anybody throw a football as far as he did. I think he threw from the goal line and he hit the opposite 30. So it was 70 yards in the air. And I was like, I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. And he did it so casually. He was a stud, man. I mean, he was a dual threat quarterback with an explosive arm, unlike anything that we'd ever seen at the time. And I can't imagine what our media would feel about him if he was playing in this modern college football time. I mean, it is perfectly built for a lot of the read option stuff, get the ball deep, for him to run and scamper and create. I mean, he was just phenomenal. And the fun thing about it is, he did it with a giant smile on his face all the time. He was a fun-loving guy. He put us definitely on the map. I mean, we were poised to go to the national championship game if it wasn't for those pesky Aggies down at College Station beating us in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, man, I had to ask that question. I always want to and I always forget, so I got it out the way. Maz, I'm sorry.
No, don't be, man. That's a good story, man. Hey, Ben, go back to the NFC North.